40 years later. So, in case anybody's interested, what I do, I hope I've convinced you, is go to great lengths to get the facts. And then I write it more like it's a novel, because this stuff really did happen to real life people.
How did you get involved in all of this? Where'd you grow up yourself?
Well, I grew up in Stanford, which is in Lincoln County. And as I said to start with, I had heard the story about Barry Howard being the man that killed William Goldman. And when I started across that trial transcript, I said, hey, I got to tell the world about this. That sold well.
Did you have a background in teaching or anything, or what was your field of work?
Math and computer science.
Math and computer science?
Yeah. But I always felt like God gave me the ability to write a complete sentence. So I learned a little bit as I went along. And as I said, when I first wrote Assassination of the State House, it sold well. The publisher said, hey, son, do some more of that. They like it when it sells.
So I've seen the statue there in Frankfurt of Gobel. And you read what, they make him sound like St. Bill. I mean, he was not a very good person,
He
right?
was not.
He had murdered somebody
Yep.
here in Covington and
Yep, trampled everybody's rights. I was there one day, I happened to be there, and there's a busload of elder hostel or something. These old ladies were swarming around that statue. And they were saying, oh, that poor man. It was all I could do to keep them going on. And I said, wait a minute here, let me tell you something.
so he wasn't no saint.
Well, the most difficult thing about historical research is to put yourself in the mind frame of people 150 years ago. Politics was so strong in those days, and it still is today. You know, we didn't have the mass media of every word that a candidate says being on television and the radio. If you were a Democrat in those days, you were going to vote for the Democrat and think they were the cat's meow or the Republican.
The boss system.
Yeah, yeah.
So he was.
Okay, so anything else? Yes, ma'am.
As far as the election, you know, in November, do you know what the tally was?
The Republican won by about 2,500 votes, which was not a huge majority, but it was enough that the people had spoken.
But wasn't there some allegations of election fraud down in southeastern Kentucky with some of the
Of course.
Republicans?
Of course.
In the eastern area.
Isn't there always? Yeah.
And doing some vote stuff. That's some
The Democrats claimed that the Republicans had used what they call tissue paper ballots that were so thin that your boss could see who he voted for, even though the paper was folded. And I've seen the ballot. It's about like a page out of a telephone book. We're all old enough to know what a telephone book is, right? But I thought that was ridiculous. And as far as that goes, in my humble opinion, there's been voter fraud in every election that's ever been held in this state. And I don't think it was any worse in that 1900 and 1899 election than any of the rest of them.
So this is sort of a hypothetical question, I guess, in a way, but I'm interested in your thoughts on it. Of course, actually the last governor to ever serve from Northern Kentucky then was Stephenson, since Gobel didn't serve. And why do you think that has been a problem for all of Northern Kentucky? Because we until I was elected myself in 1992, we didn't have a elected statewide office holder from Northern Kentucky for many, many decades. And no governors since Stephenson from Northern Kentucky.
To tell you the truth, I don't know enough about politics to give you a competent answer to that. But I do know that Eastern Kentucky was during the Civil War a hotbed of unionism and therefore Republicanism. Western Kentucky, on the other hand, was all Confederates and therefore Democrats. South Central Kentucky and Northern Kentucky sort of kind of get lost in the middle.
Yeah,
That's the best answer I can give you. I really don't know a whole lot about it.
yeah. Well, that was interesting. I battled that in my own career.
Yeah.
All my life was the original image of Northern Kentucky, which has changed greatly. But getting past the primary back in those early years when I first ran was 1975 statewide. And I learned many lessons from that race, particularly the registration of Democrats in the far western part of the state was like 16, 17 to 1,
Yeah.
some as high as 30 to 1.
Yeah.
And where the Democrats controlled Northern Kentucky at that time too, but only about like 2 or 3 to 1.
Well, this is archaic history, but Abraham Lincoln was a Republican.
Yep.
Therefore, if you were a Confederate, you were a Democrat. That's where the term the Solid South came from, and Western Kentucky was solidly Confederate and therefore Democrats.
Yeah. It's an interesting history though.
It is. Well, thank y'all very much for being here. I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Ma'am, do you mind holding this for me while I sing?
While you sing?
Yeah, before it starts. And it's already running. So all you gotta do is just hold it
I'm
on.
in the right spot.
It's already running, so.
What are you gonna sing?
Oh, Kentucky Home.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
What's he gonna do?
He's gonna sing. I'm gonna get the video.
Do you want me to stop it after you finish? Do you want to stop it after you finish, or do you want to keep going for the presentation?
Keep going for the presentation.
Okay.
I'm going to hand out a couple of things, and while I'm doing that, I have Mr. Stephenson is going to serenade us with a special, since we are going to be talking just about Kentucky today, with Model Kentucky Home.
Well, thank you, Ms. Daniels. It's an honor and pleasure to be here today. I'm John Stephenson. Some of you I know, and or you've seen me or voted for me. Some of them might have voted against me. But I'm the last elected superintendent of education for the state of Kentucky, and I have the distinct honor of being the only living Kentuckian who's been in every single county in the state at least 5 times and filmed the history of all 120 counties in Kentucky and donated a set of the tapes to every county library in the state. And my wife reminds me of it because I'm still $70,000 in the hole. But it was a good cause. And I sang this song here that was taught to me by Happy Chandler back when I was president of the student body in 1968 at the University of Kentucky Community College in Northern Kentucky. And he said, son, I'll teach you how to sing it, but you got to sing it from your heart. And so that's what I'll do for you today. I'll sing it from my heart. Oh, the sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home. 'Tis summer, the children at play. The corn tops ripe and the meadows are in bloom, and the birds make music all the day. Weep no more, my ladies, oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home far away. Now, before I sing the last verse, if you was to reach over and touch the person's wrist next to you, you would feel a pulse. That pulse knows no ethnicity. It knows no particular political party, nor particular faith, nor particular race. It's but a gift of life from God. The greatest gift he gave us is the gift of love. And that's the reason that I sing this song, because you see, as a school teacher, I love you. I love you. I love you. And I'm sure Miss Daniels does also, because we love to invert history. And part of history is the light to our future. And remember, when you see a child or a senior citizen or a fellow citizen, there is no race. There's only the human race. And we're all part of that in God's eyes. Oh, the children roll on the little cabin floor, all merry, all happy and bright. By and by, hard times comes a knocking at the door, then my old Kentucky home says goodnight. Now join in with me. Weep no more, my lady. Oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home far away, for my old Kentucky home far away. God bless Kentucky. God bless Kentucky. God bless Pennsylvania. Praise the Lord. Take care of you. God be praised. Thank you.
However, I have to say, I was born a Kentucky girl, I'm seventh generation, born up in Fort Thomas, but I grew up on the other side of the river in Cincinnati, and I spent many years trying to get back to Kentucky, and I did it 20 years ago. I've been here now 27 years, so yes, Kentucky's always been very dear. Lots of roots, and but yeah, a lot of Ohio roots too. So those of you from Ohio, I don't know, but anyway. So, we are going to be talking a lot about Kentucky today. The two things that I gave you here at the beginning, the first one here, it says research experience. That has the links that you need to get to pretty much everything I'm talking about in today. We have several different databases that are available for free to you from home. And there's one on here, Kentucky Ancestors. I gave you this one as well. I will talk more about that, but we also would love to have more writers actually sharing your story about Kentucky and your heritage, your history. Sometimes local history is totally welcome, genealogy, whatever you want. It's a really great way to share your history, your heritage about Kentucky. So, as he mentioned, I'm Cheri Daniels. I'm head of urban services with the Kentucky Historical Society. I've been there about almost 7 years. Our main website, this is pretty much the portal that we're Kentuckians. We have been collecting since 1836, and we collect all kinds of things. In fact, that's a portion of our building. I will show you more of our building here in just a second. But we have, half of our building is actually full of more artifacts, museum items. So anything from quilts to cars, to paintings, to guns, we have that entire back section of the building is full of those things. The other section is full of more educational services and of course, the library that we have up on the second floor. So who are we? We're the State Historical Society. We have a museum. We have more than one museum actually. We have a campus, so therefore we've got the Thomas D. Clark Center for Kentucky History, which is at 100 West Broadway. But then about a block down, we also have the old state capitol. That's part of our campus. We also have the arsenal up on the hill. So that's military museum. So that is also part of our campus. Now, we have general admission. We have general admission that runs, if you're not a member, that runs about $8 per person. If you are a member, it's free access. The library does fall under that, by the way. So just FYI, it used to be free for many years, but too many budget cuts, I'm afraid. We are a state agency within Tourism, Arts, and Heritage Council. However, we're also partially funded by a foundation. So anyone in estate planning, we also have wonderful ways you can leave your legacy behind, which would help a lot of our educational programs that we have. We are home to the largest genealogy collection in the state. However, we are not the state archives. We do have an archive, but we are not the state archives. So how many ever got to hear Walter a little bit earlier from KDLA? He is wonderful. Whenever I tell people, we get calls all the time about coming to see us, coming to research, and I will give them our hours, because our hours are only Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5. His hours up on the hill is Monday through Friday, I believe 9 to 4. And I tell people, you really need to visit both of us. The difference between the two, the state archives, Kentucky Department for Libraries and Archives, that's their official name. They are the official state repository for the government records, the courthouses, things like that. They're gonna have, we have some duplicate material from what they produced, such as tax records, we've got vital statistics, we have probate records, things like that. But they have way more court records, deeds, they have governor's papers, things like that. So it's definitely, Frankfort is a really great place to just stop and shop for your family history. Again, we're Frankfort based, but we have statewide collections and reach. We have even outreach programs. We do things all over the state, all 120 counties we collect, and we provide information about. This is our mission. We educate and engage the public through Kentucky's history in order to confront the challenges of the future. There you go. And our vision. The Kentucky Historical Society is a recognized leader in helping people understand, cherish, and share Kentucky stories. Now, I think this might play. I hope it does. However, there will be no sound, and that's okay because I'll narrate for you. You can see this entire video with sound at the Kentucky Ancestors site. We are beginning to put more videos up on this site. This first one is going to be a tour of the library, a visual tour. It's about 7 minutes long. There is a part 2 to this. It's about 45 minutes long, and it takes you all the way through all the various databases that I talked about, or that I'm going to talk more about on this one. So it actually works you through every one of it. It teaches you how to use our library catalog, how to use our digital collections catalog. It's long, but enjoy it. Settle in, have a cup of tea. Let's see if this, oh, that didn't do it. So hang on, let's see if I can actually. There's sound.
Welcome to the Kentucky Historical Society's Thomas D. Clark Center for Kentucky History. Located in beautiful downtown Frankfort at 100 West Broadway, visiting us is easy with plenty of free parking just across the train tracks in front of our entrance. Our front doors open to reveal the beautiful Commonwealth Hall on the first floor. Once you have checked in at the Broadway desk for admission, you'll want to head upstairs to the second floor. At the top of the stairs, just next to the elevator, is the Martin F. Schmidt Research Library. Access to the library is covered under our membership and general admission policies, so be sure to check our website for current pricing information. The Martin F. Schmidt Research Library is open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5, and is home to Kentucky's largest collection of genealogy and local history material. Come with me as we take a tour inside. Once inside the doors, a couple of signs will guide you in the direction of the reference desk. Checking in at the reference desk is your first step to beginning research. As you walk through the security gates, you will no doubt notice the beautiful grass tree in front of the window. Each little leaf, acorn, or rock contains the name of ancestors, loved ones, or groups that have been memorialized by our faithful donors. For space available to honor one of your ancestors, please inquire through our Kentucky Historical Society Foundation. Turning to the right, just past the reference sign, the spacious reading room greets our visitors. As you walk through this room, the reference desk can be found at a midpoint along the left wall. Just look for the small wall clock under the row of windows. Our helpful reference staff can't wait to get you started on your research journey. On your first visit, you'll need to fill out a registration form that outlines our access rules and policies. After completing this form, you will receive a library card that is required for check-in at each future library visit. While the full list of rules and policies is available on our website, here are just a few usage tips to keep in mind before your first visit. Lockers are provided on the second floor for your convenience, and yes, we do have free Wi-Fi. Photocopiers and printers are also available for your convenience, just to the left of the reference desk. Our reading room also contains public computer terminals, and whether you use our computers or your own personal devices, several subscription databases are available free when visiting on site. KHS is also a Family Search affiliate library, giving you additional access to their records. Now we're going to head out of the reading room and take a tour of the general stacks area of the library. These double doors are located just past the computer terminals and lead you into an area that houses our books, microfilm, and vertical files. The wall to your right contains the Kentucky County and General History subject files, as well as our microfilm collection towards the back.
Those of you who haven't been here in a while, we did move the microphone.
The rest of the
into
room
main
contains our surname files, general stacks books, and periodicals. Before heading into the stacks, be sure to look up your subjects or surnames in our online catalog to find the necessary Dewey Decimal Call number. Our catalog is available for free online, and our next video will demonstrate how to use our KHS catalogs. Even microfilm numbers and archival material will be listed in our catalog. This middle section of the library contains our periodicals and general history books. And don't forget about our wonderful collection of microfilm located in the back corner. One very special feature of our library draws visitors from across the country, our surname vertical files. Each file contains a mixture of material, which could include research reports, articles, family correspondence, copies of family Bible records, family group sheets, newspaper clippings, or obituaries. Each file is different, so you never know what you'll find inside. A list of our surname files can be found online at kyhistory.com. Back out in the reading room, you should take note of our land record print volumes, our map drawers, and Atlas Island. Darris contain hundreds of Kentucky map copies spanning over 200 years of all 120 counties. Just across from the maps sits our reference section. This area contains larger lineage sets and passenger lists, as well as our Kentucky section. This is a good place to start your Kentucky research journey. One popular feature of this little area is an 11-volume set of family Bible record copies, complete with an index. But what about our archival collections? Most can be found listed in our online catalog and accessed right here in the reading room. If you encounter anything listed as closed stacks in the catalog, simply fill out a call slip and give it to our reference staff. The item can be retrieved in just a few minutes. This concludes our lesson for today. Thank you for watching, and we hope to see you visiting our library very soon. Be watching for more lessons just like this to teach you how to research your Kentucky ancestors.
So, a couple things to note there at the very end. Like I said, in the video I said about archival collections. We do have a significant space. We have the original Constitution, 1792 Constitution, letters, diaries. In fact, this is a list of some of the things that we have. Not just like every archive, probably almost every archive in the country, got some sort of backlog or something that, people have donated some things and we just haven't got them fully cataloged or processed into the catalog. So yes, a big portion of it is. So anything though that you've heard somebody donated something, still contact us. If you can't find it in the catalog, there is, sometimes in fact I just got one this week. It was because it was 8 cubic feet, they hadn't processed it yet. So it was one of those, they were gonna have to wait a while on that one. But if you've heard anything, or feel free to contact us at the reference desk, and we can take a little deeper look in that to see if we can find anything else if nothing's coming up in the catalog for you. So here's just a kind of a rundown. We have family histories and surname files, as you saw. Family Bibles, I'll actually talk a little bit more about those in a second. Special collections and archives, which includes rare books, photographs, letters, diaries, originals. And one of the goals we've had is to digitize as much as we possibly can. So that kyhistory.com that you saw, that link for the list of the surname files, that is where we place a lot of our archival, the digitized archival items that we've been working on. So you're gonna have original things, even some family trees, a lot of original Bible records in there as well. Artifacts actually live in a slightly different catalog. They are all accessible through our main website. So if you all go to the resources and catalog section, the main things that are the first catalogs that you see, there's, honestly, I think there's about 8 to 10 of them. But there's different catalogs right there. You start off with the library catalog, then the digital collections catalog. The third one is the objects catalog, or the artifacts. So if you suspect anybody might have donated anything that belonged to your family, a quilt, a painting, anything like that, check out the objects catalog. And you can technically, now obviously we're not, the museum's not big enough to display everything that we get. So there is a large portion of our building that's, it's storing those things, and we use them for exhibits and whatnot. But you can make an appointment. That's the only thing really that you need to make an appointment to see, because they have to take it out of the storage. They have to put it in a place for you to see it and everything like that. And so yeah, artifacts, it has its own catalog. County and state histories, we have a lot of those. Church records, I put 2 stars there because KBLA usually is naughty about sending them to us, saying, oh, they've got loads of church records over there. And we say, no, please don't send them away. We have some church records, but it's very limited. We have some on microfilm. We have a few originals, but honestly, as far as the number of potential religious institutions out there, we have very little. It's kind of
You know, you try to search for what you can, see what still exists, see if you can go to a regional or national repository for denominations. A lot of them have their own archive if things did not survive on a local scale. Yes, we do have a few, check our catalog, and again, we have some in microfilm as well, and that should pop up. About half of our microfilm has been cataloged, it's one of our ongoing projects. So, the bulk of the county things have already been, have been cataloged, so you'll get an MIC number. Things like newspapers, which we really don't have a big collection of newspapers. We have some issues that may not be at UK, they're on microfilm, but unfortunately that list is not on. We have not cataloged those yet, it's just not that many. Oral histories, we are home to the Oral History Commission for Kentucky. So we've been, I believe, doing oral history since the 1960s, so we have a lot of different interviews that you can access. And in fact, again, on that list of catalogs, there's one there called Pass the Word. I think that actually is featured a little bit later. But city directories, we have a lot of city directories for the state. How-to genealogy is probably our weakest thing. How-to genealogy, you know, methodology, things like that. That's something that your public library is probably going to be better for looking at. We just don't keep up a lot with that. That's as far as limited budget. We're not going to try to keep up on the latest methodology. We're more interested in collecting the records and the local histories that you'll want to access. Lineage books, we're pretty good there. We're collecting more, some of those. We have a large collection, of course, Kentucky DAR. We've got, I think, 2/3 of the Mayflower set. We have other things like your passenger list, Germans to America, Italians, all those things like that. And again, Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 5 are our main hours. So, what do we have? Printed materials, county histories, family histories, published military rosters, some newspapers. The military rosters I'm talking about is like your Adjutant General records reports, Rebellion, War of 1812 rosters, things like that. We do not have a significant collection of military records, unfortunately. We're working on that. There is a stash in the state, and we're working on that. So we hope to get some more of that. Like I said, we have some newspapers, local government records, birth, death, marriage, probate, school, deed and tax records. We do have a lot of that on microfilm. And like I said, I've got deeds in there. It depends on the county. KDLA has more deeds than we do by far. And same with court records. I didn't even put court records. We have some circuit, court order books, things like that on microfilm. But again, they're the mother lode over there. Birth, death, and marriage. We have vital statistics. We have that series of 1852 to 1910 on microfilm, which is of course when Kentucky began producing any birth, death, well actually they were producing marriages before that, but that series where they were writing them in ledger style, not actually producing certificates, that range, there's so many gaps to it. It's on microfilm, but we do have it. It's not indexed. Takes a lot of searching through that one. However, with death certificates, we do have 1911 to 1964, I believe, on microfilm. And we are not allowed to have the birth records, so we don't have birth certificates. You have to get those from the Office of Vital Statistics, 1911 to present. And let's see, probate, we do have probate records on microfilm. Some school, we have some of the school records. When I say that, it's more, it's a bi-county thing. It just depends on what survived on some of that stuff. Pretty good on taxes too. Go pretty early. State government, we got some land records. How many of you use the Secretary of State Land Office records online? Yeah, those are amazing. So they have the early land records for Kentucky. They've been digitizing a lot of those. They haven't got them all done. I know they had some budget cuts as well, but I will not give you their site. You just have to Google them, Kentucky Secretary of State Land Office. The site is a little wonky. You have to really be patient and get into it and dig into for the little words that say database that you click on. But they provide high resolution images of the early Kentucky land records, and they're marvelous. We have a photocopy set of those, and we do go through the full set. So therefore, any of the later ones that they haven't digitized yet, we do have those copies. And that was in the video you saw where I said right next to the maps, that big section, are land records. And we also have one of the series is only available on microfilm, and we have that too.
Again, what group is that?
It was the Secretary of State Land Office, Kentucky. Make sure you put that word in there, otherwise you might get some The legislative stuff you usually will not find in our catalog. Don't know why. There's not that many of them, but I don't know, they just never did over the years. Let's see, organization and business records. So when you talk about some of our archival things, yes, we do have a lot of business records from various things around the state. Some church records, some funeral home records. It's very hit or miss. Cemetery records are interesting. We have, not only do we have the published cemetery records that counties have put out over the years, we also have, next to those surname files, we also have this entire section of county files that are just random bits and pieces. Just like the surname files, you pull out that drawer, and there's all different kinds of things that that have been left behind. Newspaper articles, little histories and things like that. But we also had cemetery records in there. And when I say records, they were more indexes that people were, inventories that people were producing pre-find a grave days. So we've got things from the 1920s, the 30s, and the 40s. We have since taken those out of the main area, and we've made those archival collections. So when you do come in, if you're looking specifically more for cemetery inventories, get into the catalog and look for that county and cemeteries, and you should be able to pull up. It's an SC number, means it's like a small collection. So it's an archival storage. It only takes us a couple minutes to get it for you, but those are also a really handy thing to do. Some Lineage Society records. Oh goodness, I think we have some of the UDC records, but those have not been processed. We have some of the DAR application things for Kentucky only. And then again, more business records, all kinds of things. More surname files I covered in the video. These are, research files. There's a lot of correspondence that we have, people have written to us over the years, and we've answered back, and we've put all that information in there. The thing is about each surname file, heaven help you if your last name is Smith, because there's, there's a whole drawer, and they're not in any order. They might even be many different branches of a family surname. So it's up to you to kind of piece that together to see whether they actually fit. Sometimes they're sourced, sometimes they're not. We've had many years. We try to be a little bit more selective now, as far as we do appreciate when people donate to us, even for this, which we call special use. That's great. We would really like, we'd love copies of family Bible records or original information. We'd love them to be sourced if possible. And one of the things that I like to tell people is, if it goes really far back, we're going into the 1700s, 1600s, and you're not sourcing anything, yeah, I don't really kind of like those very well. But if you're filling out some family group sheets, it's got your family, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, you better want that, because you're contemporary information, and you guys are witnesses to history, so I definitely want that. I saw a question.
That was what I was gonna ask, is if we have well-sourced family group sheets and trees, can we email you copies, digital copies?
Yeah, okay, I can do that. Let's see, and yeah, various branches, locations, some of them do go way back, that's kind of just our selective collecting now. In the past, not so much, so you'll find a whole wide variety.